Yes, I'm dropping a beat. Hello, this is Chippy the Chipmunk. How are you?
I think it's sort of a welcome to Antarctica type day.
The Walking with the Wounded South Pole Allied Challenge is a race like no other. Led by expedition patron Prince Harry.
You screw up out here, you get punished.
4 wounded British soldiers.
We're going to stop faffing and just get on with it.
Are taking on teams from the Commonwealth and the USA.
Right now I feel like I'm at war.
In a race to the South Pole, they'll face extreme temperatures.
This is a savage environment. It's hardcore.
Over 200 kilometers of grueling terrain. In the world's most hostile environment, Antarctica.
If we go on like this, we are simply not going to do it.
It's a story of survival and of overcoming the scars of war, inside and out.
Look what happens when so many people come together. You can shoot pretty much anything.
It's the morning of the race start in Antarctica.
Sunday morning, the 1st, I think. And we're leaving at 1300. The wind's blowing, I think, probably 30 miles an hour, bringing it to minus 40 potentially, I don't know. But it's damn cold.
3 teams of wounded soldiers, brothers in arms on the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan, are gearing up against the Antarctic cold and each other.
Obviously, everyone's very keen to win.
All are determined to be first to the pole. The British are missing 1 arm and 4 legs between them. This is their greatest challenge since being wounded.
We'll all have good and bad days. It's just how it goes. You can't be on top of it every single time.
Guy Disney lost his right leg in an ambush in Afghanistan.
Once we get going, we can find our, no pun intended, but we'll find our feet along the way, if you know what I mean.
Duncan Slater lost both his legs after he was blown up by an IED.
Just want to get on with it, really. Excited that in 14 days' time we'll get the South Pole, yeah.
Ibi Ali's right arm was severed by a roadside bomb in Iraq.
Tell me the rucksack, I'll put it on the end. Tie it down.
Major Kate Philp lost her left leg in Afghanistan, making her the first British female combat amputee.
Oh, lovely. Brilliant.
Duncan, Guy, Ibi, Kate and Prince Harry will each be hauling over 80 kilos of food and kit behind them. They'll be racing 9 hours a day in minus 40 degrees and below. All 3 teams head to the start line. Time for final checks.
Almost ready. Just donning the music. What am I going to listen to? That. Shuffle. Volume. Pause. Ready to go.
1, 2, 3.
They're off. The race is on.
They said it's 130 miles. This line represents a 130-mile trek. They supposedly left December 1st, 2013, and got there Friday the 13th. They started from somewhere, I don't know where, but I just drew a 130-mile long line to show you that the logistics of this. They started on the 9,000-foot high plateau. They tell us Antarctica, part of it is it's a big ice sheet, including the South Pole, that's at an elevation of a little over 9,000 feet in elevation. So how did they get those vehicles? I mean, we're talking some major logistics to fly in four-wheel drive vehicles that follow them the whole way. And we're expected to believe there are no crevasses. It's just a simple 130-mile drive / walk to the South Pole. Again, here's a closer look. I got it about as close to 90 degrees south. And they ended the walk at the Amundsen Scott Research Center. It's a huge building. Also, I looked up on timeanddate.com for December 13th, 2013. They said the sun in Antarctica is up all day at 23 degrees in the sky. So if anybody out there knows how to measure where the sun's position in the sky, does it look like it's at 23 degrees to you?
With just days left until the Walking with the Wounded South Pole race team depart for Antarctica, there's a whirlwind of activity. Starting with a press call in Trafalgar Square.
Trafalgar Square?
Former U.S. service members are on a race to the South Pole. I'm Alfonso Van Marsh in London. I'll tell you more coming up.
The next day, the teams head off to Buckingham Palace.
Just wanted to show you I'm on timeanddate.com. If you type in South Pole, Antarctica, December 2013, sun in the South Pole. December 1st, sun up all day. 21.7 degrees. They arrived Friday the 13th, sun 23.1 degrees. The sun just moves around in a 360 degree circle around you. At 23 degrees, first 22 degrees, but it's up all day. I mean, 22 degrees in the sky, I don't think that's very high up. Maybe some people that know more about this stuff can chime in. Is the sun where it should be?
About to leave for Antarctica. There's a mix of excitement and nerves.
Honestly, shitting myself today.
Shitting yourself.
It's also a moment for goodbyes. En route to Antarctica, there's a stopover in South Africa.
South Africa. So they go from South Africa. They fly from South Africa to somewhere in Antarctica. I don't know. But the question remains, how do they get the vehicles? And where exactly are they starting on this 130-mile trek to the pole? When right there, that's 834 miles. That's 830. Wait, there's 795. That's the shortest distance. That's over 1,000. So some of these bases are almost 2,000 miles away, 1,800 miles, whatever, Again, 1,000 miles. 800. This is in the 800-mile range. They're starting. Keep in mind, this is 130 miles. So they're starting somewhere in this circle. And again, they have the logistics to fly in everything and drop them off a high plateau of ice and minus 49 degrees below zero temperatures. And there's 3 teams, 12 wounded warriors that are, some are double amputees, and we're expected to believe they trek for 2 weeks in those kind of harsh conditions. And they have very little footage. It could have been shot in 1 day, and through the magic of video editing, they make it look like this just long, arduous journey. And so we'll pick it up.
Antarctica is a 6-hour flight away on a Russian cargo plane across the Southern Ocean.
6-hour flight from South Africa on a propeller
The
plane.
teams arrive on the bleak Antarctic plateau.
And they arrive on the
It's
plateau.
the world's largest ice sheet, 3,000 meters above sea level. It's minus 40.
You just feel it straight away, the nostril hair freezing. One thing I noticed as soon as you go off is the altitude. You're immediately short of breath. And apart from that, the view is absolutely spectacular, but clearly not meant for mankind. Just look how cool
Look,
it is. It's
where'd they get the
amazing.
vehicle?
It's ridiculous that a place like this should exist. One of the few places on Earth that hasn't been screwed up by humans. If you can't be free here, where can you be free?
Look, a twin prop plane. Okay, and check this out. They said Antarctica is a 6-hour flight away from South Africa on a Russian cargo plane that looked like it was a 2-prop propeller plane. Look at the mileage here. 3,700 miles. That's from Cape Town Airport to this is the geographic South Pole, which is 130 miles away. So I'm just assuming, I mean, it doesn't matter. This is the closest. So they could be starting anywhere within this 130-mile radius. So the least distance, if they flew in a straight line, 3,700 miles. How is a propeller plane make that trip in 6 hours? Please, someone tell me if that's even possible. I'm too lazy to do the math, but I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, I don't think so. I mean, I've flown from coast to coast before, and it takes a good 5-6 hours, and this is double that. You're looking at, I don't know how many hours of flying on a twin prop engine. Are you kidding me? That old Russian beat up plane looked like, maybe a top cruising speed of, let's say 200 to 300 miles an hour, maybe. Probably more like 200, I don't know, someone can chime in on that, but there is no way that plane flew. And it shows them landing, it tells you they land in late November 2013 on the plateau 130 miles away, where they've already got, somehow they have 4-wheel drive vehicles sitting there that are going to drive with them while they march over crevasses and, with double amputees. So I just wanted to point this absurdity, total absurdity out.
Antarctica is a 6-hour flight away on a Russian cargo plane across the Southern Ocean.
6 hours on this piece of crap? 3,700 miles on
The teams
this?
arrive on the bleak Antarctic plateau. It's the world's largest ice sheet, 3,000 meters above sea level.
Is that 22
It's
degrees?
-40.
It's minus
You feel it
40
straight away,
some
the nostril
degrees
air
out.
freezing.
They'd be
One thing I noticed as soon
freezing.
as you got
Look at
to
this
the
guy.
altitude,
He
you're
doesn't even have.
immediately short of breath.
He'd be frostbitten
apart from
on
that,
anything
view
exposed.
is absolutely spectacular, but clearly not meant for mankind.
It's amazing. It's ridiculous that a place like this should exist.
At the bottom of the world, the race is about to begin.
Okay, so they land on November 25th, 2013, and there's the sun. Is that 22 degrees or 21 point something degrees up in the sky? I don't have a way to measure that. What did they do for 5 days? What is it? November 30th? 24, 6, 7, 8, 9. They sit there for 5 days, and then they start the race on December 1st and end it 130 miles later at the Amundsen Scott Research Station at 90 degrees south on Friday the 13th, December 2013. This 3,700 mile distance from South Africa is where they said they're taking off, so I'm assuming they're flying from the Cape Town airport. That would make sense to me. And they're flying 6 hours, he says, to get onto the high, icy Antarctic plateau, which is already up at, 9,000 feet above sea level. It's just nothing but ice. So they land that plane, and they've already got 4-wheel drive vehicles out waiting for them. How did they get those there? So let's continue. He just says it's minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And look at him. He doesn't even have any face protection. I mean, that's frostbite. There's no steam coming out of his breath. It's just ridiculous. There's no way that's minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The guy would be frostbitten in minutes. They've landed this twin prop. There's already, like I said, a 4-wheel drive vehicle there. And the team spend like 5 days here, out in the middle of nowhere, in minus 40 degree Fahrenheit temperature. I didn't even know if vehicles would work in that kind of temperature. Look at this. They spent all this time making this stupid start thing. December 1st, 2013. The race is about to begin. All the teams are lining up. Somehow they got 4-wheel drives. They're just gonna, drive along with them. Never mind the crevasses and all the treacherous terrain that they face. Here's another shot of it. Another vehicle. This is different. They've got at least two 4-wheel drive vehicles, and look at this terrain. They're just gonna drive with 3 teams, 12 people that have a hard enough time with their amputated limbs. You know, they're going to walk 130 miles in those brutal, brutal cold conditions. I just don't know.
200 kilometers, 12 wounded soldiers, and 1 prince heading for the pole. Antarctica. 13 million square kilometers of snow and ice, and the setting for an extraordinary challenge.
It's ridiculous.
I think he's just completely lost it. I got frozen hands.
It's a journey that will challenge the wounded.
Easy, you're going to feel very dizzy.
And the non-wounded alike.
It just feels as though it's getting worse and worse. Antarctica jumped up, bit me in the ass.
At 1 o'clock, the teams head out into the freezing wilderness.
Yeah.
This is Chippy the Chipmunk. Bye-bye, everybody. See you in the next video.